Been about 2.5 months, but I've been busy. I'm going to talk about a bottle as well and a distillery. Here we go. Haven't really got much done because I was pretty much on the road. Did a little road tripping, some people call it snowbirding. If it's snowbirding and there was really not a whole lot of snow that I'm avoiding, is it really snowbirding? I live in the Northwest. Me and my wife drove with 3 dogs and a cat. Destination is going to be South Florida at her folks' house, and that was a whole new experience as well. On the way, had an opportunity to hook up with a lot of friends, cruised all the way from the Northwest, ended up over in the Southeast, got to see friends, family, all kinds of stuff, had a blast. So on the way back, not only did I go to my very first Buc-ee's in Georgia, had a blast. I love that place. You got good food, you got a lot of stuff you can buy, great barbecue, and you can gas up your truck. It was my very first one. Loved it. Bought a couple shirts. Best thing on earth. They should make every gas station like that. Stopped off in Tennessee where my buddy Jeff lives. He enjoys whiskeys, bourbons, you name it, just like I do. One day he gets up, he goes, "Hey man, you want to go to Nelson Brothers Distillery?" I'm like, yes, of course. We end up going. That place has a ton of history and the distillery as well. Nelson Greenbrier Distillery. I'm going to read this a little bit off their webpage, but you can double check me, do whatever you need to do. We get there. It's in a very long building. And then when you do the research, it's on the one end of it. If you do the research on it, it is the Marathon Motor Works Company, established in 1907, and it operated between 1909 and 1914, and they make cars. And with the Marathon Motor Works cars, there's only a handful that's pretty much remaining to this day. Down the street, there's a museum. I'll get back to that in just a sec. Back to the Nelson Greenbrier Distillery. That thing was founded by Charles Nelson in 1860 in Tennessee, was one of the largest producers before close, the producer of bourbon, whiskey, you name it, booze, call it what you want. The largest producer in the state. And if you think of the big name that's also in that state, it did more than that. And it ended up closing in 1909 due to prohibition. That's a little history. So 3 great-grandsons, Charles and Andy Nelson, revived the brand in 2011 and officially reopened the Nashville Distillery in 2014. And they make Tennessee whiskey and bourbon ever since. So to go back just a little bit into the before 1909, old Charles had his place. They got the spring water off of what they now call Distillery Road, Main Street. It's off of in Greenbrier, just north of Nashville. If you go to, I'm guessing Highway 41 and Main Street, there is a historic placard there. If you drive down Main Street a little bit, which turns into a distillery, it's the old Rick House and spring, and you can actually see the spring. My buddy Jeff took me over there. You can see the spring dripping. So it's a cool little historic site. The Rick House doesn't look too safe, but I wouldn't recommend trying to park there because there's not a whole lot of parking. Just drive by, take a look. It's pretty cool. Great historical landmark. Now back to the new Nelson Greenbrier Distillery, or Nelson Brothers Greenbrier Distillery, however you want to call it. The address there is 1414 Clinton Street in Nashville. And my buddy Jeff took me in there. And they have a great shop. They have a restaurant. It's perfect, great bar. So we went up to the bar, see what they had. And at that time, we ended up having a 10-year, and another one I had was a finished one. I can't remember. Both were fantastic. We get back to the house. I'm skipping around a little bit here. My buddy Jeff gave me a Nelson Brothers Christmas in July. Let's see if I can see that. Gave me a little taster there. I'm going to give a taste. He gave me one of those things, and I thought it was probably one of the nicest ryes I had with so much flavor. I like ryes. Some people don't. I enjoy ryes because you get more range in the flavors on the rye. So I poured a glass here. While we were in there, lemon, maybe a little pepper. A lot of lemon on this. We were in there. He's talking with them. The restaurant wasn't open. If you ever make a trip, go over there. make it a day, and you can go check out the rest of the Marathon Motorworks building, because it's basically an assembly line, and Nelson's brothers are at the end of it. There's a lot of shops in there. So we go in there, have a couple drinks, got a couple things at the store there. I think my buddy picked up a couple bottles, another 10-year and something else. I'm gonna take a sip of this. Off that sip, you get the lemon, you get some orange, you get mint, and you get some clove on there. And that is fantastic for a rye. And the mash bill on this thing is going to be 64 rye, 30 corn, 6 malt and barley. So I asked my buddy, after we, checked out Nelson Brothers, we're driving back home. Or actually, we walked down the road, checked out a few stores that are within the Motorworks assembly line buildings, because they kind of rent them out. And then across the way, they have a museum of probably about a handful of cars. It is so cool. Seeing a little bit of history, and I'm glad they're reviving an old building like that, brick building, putting different shops in there. But the Nelson Brothers is at the end. So if you ever get a chance to get into Nashville, swing by there, check their schedule, see what they're open. If you're hungry, you want to go get something to eat. I know the menu is fantastic from what I saw, the hamburger, but I didn't get a chance because it wasn't open when we were there. So we just had a couple drinks, loved them, tasted great. I highly recommend if you're passing through or just live there or close by or want to take a trip for the day. There's a lot to see on that one block. This thing here, we get back to his house, tasted a few different bottles of the Nelsons, and they were all great. I really enjoyed the 10-year, but this one here, the rye, and I go, where did you get the Christmas in July? I called him back, and I just wanted to verify the story. He goes, no, I was on a tour there, and at the end of the tour, and a lot of these distilleries do that, they have single barrels that are picked, and this Christmas in July is obviously in the summertime. You get a little thumbnail to tell you 1, 2, 3 different barrels, see if you want it, then you pay for it, you pour it yourself, mark it, write it, and I think I got a picture of it right here. This is what it looks like. Yeah, this thing here has all the information on the bottom, handwritten by him. I blocked out his last name just for security reasons, privacy issues, but this thing, he said it was almost like a fluke. I was on a tour, they had it, tasted it, loved it. So I poured myself one of these things. But if you get a chance to do a tour, see if they have some barrels. It's a single barrel. It's a one and done single barrel. And it's probably I wish they would mass produce this thing, because I think it would be a huge seller. On that thing, it's just mint, a little bit of oak, a little bit of pepper, but I get a lot of clove. And on that finish, it's just kind of full of spearmint and clove. And that thing the finish just lasts forever. So if you get a chance, take a tour, see if they have tours available. I'm sure there's certain days or weeks, or if you're just passing through, see if they have a barrel that you can maybe pour out of. They might work with you. They're very nice people, very friendly, very informative, and they kind of have things in the works from what they were saying when we were at the bar doing some tastings. They're always making some good things, especially some finished ones they got. If you look on their website, they have a ton of finished stuff. I have not tasted all of them, but I highly recommend them. The Nelson Brothers are making some fantastic bottles, finished of their own stuff, like Christmas in July, the rye. I can't say enough that they're that good. And I wish I would have had a chance to have some lunch there, but the kitchen wasn't open that day or when we were there. I kind of missed out on that. So one more for this Christmas in July. Just going to wrap this thing up. Yeah, this thing is just lemon, orange, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of wood, oak wood, and then it kind of rolls halfway. You get the mint in there, and then as it kind of settles in, it's a pouch full of clove, and it's fantastic. If they mass produce this thing will probably win rye or even bottle of the year in and year out. And the proof on this thing, so it says 113.08. So it's definitely a little warm, but it's good. Perfect warm. Nelson Brothers, top notch, great place, beautiful setting, store, restaurant. You can do special events there if you want to book them. Do tours, barrels back there so you can pour yourself your own bottle, and it's well worth it. And it's in the Marathon Motorworks building. And it's a cool tour. We ended up walking down the street, checking out a bunch of stuff. Very cool. Bunch of stores, great museum for the cars if you guys are into that. So, hey, if you like this, visit Nelson Brothers Distillery or Nelson Brothers Brier Distillery, however they do it. I can't remember what the thing says, but it's Nelson Brothers, 1414 Clinton Street, Nashville, Tennessee. If you're passing through, swing by, and then have your wife drive you home, or your buddy, or your dog, whoever, get you home. Hopefully this is helpful. If you hear about the Christmas in July coming out, I book a tour and try and get it, because it was fantastic. It's probably, I'd put it probably one of the best rye or bottles I've ever had. I'm back. Been a while, so hopefully this was entertaining. Like, subscribe, share it, do what you got to do. So I'll talk to you later.